No, please don't leave just because I'm gonna spend the rest of this episode comparing Trump to Hitler. I know many of the things you're going to say. Well, Hitler had gun control and you want gun control. You're the Hitler. Hitler? Except Hitler actually loosened gun laws until tightening them for Jews. Also, you want to talk gun control? What about the president who out loud on camera just suggests taking people's guns with no due process? Now, some history buffs might point out, well, Nazis are National Socialists, and there's the word socialist in National Socialists, so you, liberal, you're the Nazi. Nazi? Except fascists put forth socialist ideas for popularity and control, not because so much of the country thinks the government should do better at keeping their citizens alive, like many modern non-fascist countries do. Also, fascists historically oppose all leftist parties, whether it's socialists, communists, or liberals. As the president's son says of Democrats, to me, they're not even people. Making Dad proud. When the Hitler comparisons fly, someone might bring up that Trump has a Jewish son-in-law, okay? But fascism isn't specifically anti-Semitic. There are many races and ethnicities available that can be oppressed and rounded up and put on transport vehicles to detention centers and behind a wall to keep out animals. Just follow me to Mexico or Rwanda or Myanmar, where ethnic cleansing occurs and has nothing to do with Jewish people. And no, he's not rounding people up and putting them in camps, but he is sending a lot to ICE detention centers, and ICE is allowed to do much of this while ignoring due process, as I mentioned, sometimes under false pretenses, and they're separating families, which kind of reminds me of when Donald Trump's grandfather wrote a letter to the government begging to not be deported. But at least the chief of staff says that sure, they're tearing apart families, but the separated children will go into foster care or whatever, and at least that whatever is going to be warehouses in military bases. But at least ICE admitted that they lost 1,500 migrant children. But at least the ones who get there will be on a safe military base, and at least the US military fails to protect children from sexual abuse on bases, AP reports. Now, Trump isn't literally doing the exactly Hitler thing, but it sure sounds like he's putting some people into camps. And he has a love of sheriffs who make ostensibly concentration camps and run jails with human rights abuses in the name of law and order and crime and punishment. And it's really frustrating when people say it's not the same because fascists in 1944 committed genocide and fascists in 2017 are losers and idiots with bad ideas. But I will posit that fully implemented fascism at the height of Nazi Germany is not the same as the rise of fascism. You kinda skipped a bunch when the Nazis were a bunch of losers with bad ideas. There are phases of fascism. It doesn't happen overnight. In Robert Paxton's The 5 Stages of Fascism, he notes that early fascism arises from a deadlock of constitutional government, a weak liberal, an advancing left, and conservative leaders who refused to work with the left and who felt unable to continue to govern against the left without further reinforcement. Paxton also notes that fascist revolutionaries believe in change in the sense of, if we want things to stay as they are, things will have to change.
We're saying Merry Christmas again.
Fascists are also often marked by unprincipled opportunism and ideological dishonesty, which probably explains Trump's easy shift from a Democrat to a Republican that Democrats and Republicans hate. Paxton notes, the fascist leaders who have reached power historically have been condemned to govern in association with the conservative elites who had opened the gates to them, adding the Conservative Party's militants who clamor for jobs, perquisites, expansionist adventures, and the fulfillment of elements of the early radical program. Trump himself is obviously obsessed with hyper-nationalism. Oh, National Socialism! I finally get it. Scholars and people's eyes and ears have noticed his many autocratic authoritarian tendencies. He constantly rails against a synonym for Lugenpress and implements the same propaganda and slogans, and used to keep Hitler's speeches by his bed, and when asked about it, reacted suspiciously. Wow, what a clip that was from the show! Thanks for watching, and make sure to subscribe to this channel as well as our other channel where the full episodes are. It's called Some More News. This is called Some More News Clips. which you know because you just watched it. Anyway,